insurance claims have increased significantly in the past few years. And according to the recently launched Liberty Claim Statistics for 2014, over 3 billion rands in valid claims were lodged across its full spectrum of individual risk cover solutions. This is the largest payout in Liberty's history since first publishing its claim statistics in 2006. Now, when you look at the current economic environment, you can see that it also had a significant impact on customers, particularly young customers, with retrenchment being responsible for 35.6%. compared to 2013 when it was 13.4%. Now, Nicholas Vander Nest is Director of Liberty Risk, and we cross live to Cape Town to speak to me about the impact of retrenchment on one's lifestyle and finances. And we also want to discuss the trend that the insurers have been having over the past 9 years regarding income protection claims. Good afternoon, sir, and welcome to our program.
Good afternoon, Colin. Thank you very much.
All right. Why has the rate of income protection claims escalated at this rate since 2006? I mean, 35% from only 13%. That's too much.
Yeah, so we only launched this particular retrenchment benefit in 2011. So since then, what we've seen is a significant increase in the number of retrenchments, obviously, in the country. You know, when you look at retrenchment cycles, it generally starts with the primary sector, but at some point, the middle management, which is really the target market for our flagship product, that market starts being affected. And I think we started seeing the first of that towards the end of last year.
So how different are the age groups affected by these retrenchments? I understand that it's young people who are in the employment sector who are fairly new. They also get retrenched. On the other hand, some people are nearing pension days, but they get retrenched in that process. How then do you juxtapose the effects of retrenchments in their lives?
Yeah, so I think it's quite interesting when you look at the age profile of retrenchment claims that we've seen. There's certainly younger people seems to be at the biggest risk of being retrenched. But then again, you know, we also see some retrenchments coming through in the age group 40 to 55. So I think, you know, the reality is just that everyone could be affected by a retrenchment going forward. So you need to make sure that you've got cover in place if that ever happens.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because I would like to know how retrenched workers get affected if they are not insured versus those who have been insured.
Yeah, so some of the benefits that we offer is basically a monthly income benefit, which can replace a percentage of your salary if you can no longer work as a result of retrenchment. What that obviously allows you is to make sure that you can pay for the water and lights, the bond payment, and more importantly, I guess, keep your children in school. Without cover like this in place, obviously, you know, you would basically need to rely on the unemployment insurance fund, which does not necessarily cover you to the same extent as a percentage of your salary.
Yeah, but Nicholas, but there's a problem here. Some workers are freelancers. Some of them are part-time workers. Can they take this kind of insurance so that they get covered when they get retrenched or when they are no longer called to work? Because most consumers take insurances begrudgingly, not knowing for how long they'll be employed. So where do you come in?
Yeah, so when you look at our particular products, it is very difficult to provide retrenchment cover for a sector of the population which theoretically cannot be retrenched. If you look at a freelance person, the reality is that because there is no fixed job, they cannot ever go through a retrenchment exercise. That doesn't take away the need, of course, for some kind of cover like this. But at the same time, you know, if there is no event that can take place, obviously you can't put that type of insurance cover, you know, as a company, we can't make that available. So for those particular workers, I think the reality is that, you know, save as much as you can to make sure that you can keep yourself through a couple of months should that ever happen.
So Nicholas, let's get it clear here. Are you avoiding risk on the upper side for people who are not permanently employed, and the kind of insurance that they can take makes you to be at risk and you may suffer losses when they sporadically get retrenched from time to time or are no longer making enough money because, for example, they're not called for 5 shifts in a week, they get called for 2 days, so they work for eight days in a month. Are those people also covered by that kind of an insurance product?
No, Colin. So the problem with the self-employed people is because they are generally on contracts, there is no event. So when a retrenchment happens, you cannot retrench a self-employed individual. A contract worker will just get to the end of their contract and that won't be renewed. So when you look at the product that Liberty offers, it requires a retrenchment process to be followed by the company that the individual works for. Without that retrenchment event taking place, there is no insurable interest, which means that we can't provide the cover. At the same time, we do have other solutions for self-employed individuals. There are obviously some income protection, although it doesn't necessarily deal with the retrenchment event. As I described, it's actually something that cannot happen.
All right. Nicholas, I'd like to thank you very much for making time to speak to us about this subject. And I hope that most freelancers or part-time workers will understand how it works, because unemployment affects those people who lose their jobs and their lives get affected negatively.
Thank you very much.
Right. I'm speaking to Nicholas Vander Nest, who is the Divisional Director of Liberty Risk, talking about the kind of insurances that people can take in as far as their employment is concerned, so that when they lose their jobs, they can get a salary protection so that they can be able to live off it.